guys, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is even more interesting natural features and locations in the US.
Geography King. It's been ages. I'm actually quite excited.
It has been a while.
It's been a while since we've done Geography King. It's been a while since we've been consistently uploading. Hope you guys are enjoying the content. Are you ready?
I am.
Smash that like button, guys. Smash that subscribe button. Let's get straight into even more interesting natural features and locations in the US.
Let's
a bit
go.
of a mouthful, but I'm keen.
Yeah.
Let's go. Howdy.
It's Kyle.
I was going to say George. I can't believe I was going to say George.
Howdy, it's Kyle with another installment of interesting natural features and locations in the U.S. This is the second video in the series where I take a look at some natural locations that might not be very well known outside of the local area. I'll leave a link in the description to part 1 in the series, but this is part 2. More interesting natural features and locations in the U.S.
Yeah.
I want to first start off by talking about Chiricahua National Monument in Arizona. It's in the southeastern portion of the state, about 40 miles north of the Mexican border. It was created in 1924 to protect a relatively small area of some really cool erosionary remnants, including hoodoos and balanced rocks. The formations that you see are volcanic in nature. It's actually solidified ash. It's referred to as tuff, and this is stuff that was released from a volcanic eruption from the Turkey Creek caldera. So how you end up with hoodoos and balanced rocks like this is that the rock that makes up the formations is relatively strong, and the rock that surrounded it was much more easily eroded by wind and water. So in this part of the country, it's often sandstone and limestone that gets eroded down to these beautiful...
It's got to be part of the rock, surely. It's like eroded around it. So it's got to be connected, you know. Unless that's if that's balancing, that's a miracle. I think it's connected. That's impressive. These are very interesting.
Canyons and erosionary remnants. And this is a relatively small park at about 19 square miles, but it packs a pretty big punch. And most people, when they go to Arizona to visit national parks, are going to be in the northern portion of the state around the Grand Canyon. And not many folks visit these parks in the southeastern portion of the state, but do check out Chiricahua. It's a beautiful place.
We've never seen that before.
Nope.
Next, I want to mention the City of Rocks in southeastern Idaho. This is both a national reserve and a state park. It's administered by both the feds and the state. The park is about 22 square miles and protects a large area of granite outcrops and granite spires that are very prominent rising from the high plains. These can sometimes look like mountains, but they're actually erosionary. So mountains are created by uplift, and formations like this are created by the weaker rock around it being eroded, leaving something else behind.
Okay.
So what happened here to get some of these formations is that tectonics broke apart much of this rock, and erosion removed some of the weaker rock away, leaving some of these granite spires. The process is called exfoliation, and some of the tallest spires can reach about 600 feet. Many of these have flat tops or perhaps even concave tops, including bath rock, which is well known because it has concave tops that can fill with water like a bathtub. And this was a popular spot for many pioneers from the eastern U.S. to cross over to get to the west coast. There's a spot there called Register Rock, which has many traveler carvings and writings along these rocks that are signatures of people that were moving from the east to the west. And you fast forward to today, this is a very popular spot for rock climbers to come to show their stuff.
Yeah, I can imagine rock climbers would love it.
Yellowstone, Grand Teton, and Craters of the Moon, all in the region. People often miss the City of Rocks, but don't. It's a beautiful spot.
I feel like that's a mad thing about the US. We know the Yellowstone, Teton, and stuff like that because we've seen them. Like, these are the ones to go to. And then suddenly you're like, okay, you've got these really nice places, but is that it? No, you've got these like hidden ones, which people don't talk about as much. But the amount of beauty in these.
I know, it's crazy.
It's mad. Like, there's two there which maybe we've mentioned in a video before, but I don't remember.
We've not looked into, though, have we, like, on
not
videos?
Looked into, so they're a little bit more low-key, and they're stunning. It just shows, one, how big the US is to have so many, and how many beautiful places there is.
Yeah.
And different.
Yeah, definitely.
Everything's so different. Some people go, oh, it's just rocks there, but completely different formations, completely different story behind them.
Yeah, it's just... and the thing that the crazy thing is to me, that like the earth has just made that.
I know, it's natural. That's what I mean. It's mad, isn't it? Absolutely mad.
From City of Rocks, Idaho, I'm now going to Starved Rock, Illinois. This is a state park located in the north central part of the state. It's actually the busiest state park in Illinois. It's about 80 miles from Chicago and about 45 miles from the southwesternmost suburbs. The park protects a series of canyons along the Illinois River. Some are larger than others, but most of them have some nice waterfalls in them. Some of the largest and most well-known ones in the park include Wildcat Canyon, Kaskaskia
Ooh.
Canyon, and St. Louis Canyon, all of which have nice waterfalls with them.
Yeah, that's
Overall,
funky,
there
innit?
are about 18 canyons in the park, and of course, the smaller creeks carve out the smaller ones, and the Illinois River carved out the largest one. And these canyons are exposed sandstone that is common in the region but is usually well underground. The Illinois River carved out this canyon in the sandstone. But this park is also well known for having many archaeological sites, including evidence of habitation over 10,000 years ago.
Wow.
There are 13 ancient ceremonial mounds that are approximately 2,000 years ago, and these are fairly common throughout the region to find some of these prehistoric mounds. And with all of this exposed rock, many prehistoric groups used some of these areas as rock shelters. There were 14 known spots that were used as rock shelters. And this is an unexpected spot in this part of Illinois. There's lots of hiking trails. There's some big overlooks, including the Lover's
That looks
Leap
cool.
overlook.
It does look cool.
In the
Like
wintertime,
little
there's
observation
ice
deck as
climbing on
well.
the frozen waterfalls. And again, this is the most crowded state
Well, I
park in
tell you
Illinois.
what, these wooden ones, I'd be bricking it.
Yeah,
'Cause
I don't
that,
think I'd be able to go on that, to be fair.
that is cantilevering a little bit. That is overhanging. At the edge, I'd be like, oh, this
I
feels a
wouldn't be
bit
able to.
ropey.
That would
Nice
freak me out, I
wood
think.
plank just goes. Oh.
Well, but you can go on a weekday in the off season and you'll have most of the park to yourself.
Okay.
Next, I'm going back east to Seneca Rocks, West Virginia. This is in the western part of the eastern panhandle and it's part of the Spruce Knob National Recreation Area that was founded in 1965.
Okay.
And the Seneca Rocks are what are called crags, and these are usually metamorphic rock that is very resistant. It's surrounded by much weaker sandstone
Look
or
at that view,
limestone that
though.
gets
It's
eroded,
incredible,
and
isn't
this
it?
much stronger metamorphic rock gets left behind. And for something to be called a crag, it has to have the same degree angle as a cliff, the same amount of verticality, but it's much thinner, has a much smaller surface area.
Okay.
And the Seneca Rocks
That's very
rise
thin,
about
isn't
it?
900 feet above the confluence of Seneca Creek and the North Fork of the Potomac River. There are two peaks of the Seneca Rocks. One can be hiked to and on, and the other is too vertical. It can only be accessed by
Rock climber's
ascending
dream.
and rappelling on rope. There's also an open notch between the two peaks.
Would
that
you go
is
to the top of that?
No.
No? You don't think?
No way.
Oh, yeah, you definitely wouldn't. I probably wouldn't. I like to think I would, and I feel like these are 50-50 to me. If I rock up on the right day, and I'm like, I could just be like, yeah, let's do it. But I could easily rock up and be like, nah.
Yeah.
All depends on the day I rock up, you know?
Yeah.
accessible to hikers. And similar to City of Rocks, Seneca Rocks is also a very well-known spot for top rock climbing. You'll have people come from all around to rappel down these beautiful rocks. And this is in the same part of the state as the Dolly Sods that I mentioned in part 1 of this series. So this part of West Virginia has some really cool,
Beautiful
interesting natural
bit.
features.
The
All right,
picnic
I'm headed
spot?
back to the Midwest and White Butte, North Dakota. This is located in the
You little
southwestern
butte.
portion of the state, and it's in the Badlands region of the western
That was
Dakotas,
bad.
where you have several national parks, including Theodore Roosevelt in North Dakota, as well as Badlands and the Black Hills in South Dakota. White Butte is the
Ooh.
highest point in the state. It stands at about 3,500 feet, and it ranks as the 31st highest point amongst the states.
It gives me
Okay.
England
Not too
vibes.
far from
It does, it really does, doesn't it? Just for green, a bit of farmland and stuff like that, but
Yeah.
it's nice.
It's nice.
Again, I don't know if it's just a photo sometimes on these, but it just makes something which can be so simple so nice. But then it is just nice to see like a peaceful green
Yeah.
area. And then think about just a rock formation in the middle. It's like, okay, that's nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
White Butte is Black Butte, which stands at 3,470 feet, about 30 feet less than White Butte. And a butte is an erosionary remnant formed in a similar way as a mesa or a plateau, but it's much smaller and usually has kind of a flat type top. And White Butte is a result of wind and water erosion. Despite
me
being
tell you
this far
Tommy's
north, it was outside
feel.
of the range of
Tommy's
glaciation
bits.
during the last ice age. And the rock you see is a white capstone of sandstone that's common in
Ooh.
Badlands National Park, but is usually underneath the sandstone you find in some of the other areas in the region.
Okay.
And
Again,
in
it's just
general, this part of the country
natural.
offers some surprisingly beautiful scenery, so don't sleep on the western Dakotas, including White Butte in North Dakota. Heading over to the northeast, I'm going to New York State and Letchworth State Park. This is located in western New York, not too far from Rochester or Buffalo. And this park protects a series of canyons and waterfalls along the Genesee River. There are 3 fairly large waterfalls along the Genesee.
Okay.
The tallest canyon
Ooh.
walls are about 550 feet above the river level, And the tallest waterfall is called Inspiration Falls at about 350 feet, although that isn't along the largest canyon in the park.
Okay.
And what these canyons
Oh,
are
that's stunning.
exposed sedimentary
that is
rock
pretty.
layers that in the last ice age water flow altered and helped carve the gorge. So the last ice age was only about 10 to 20,000 years ago. So this is a relatively
Ooh.
young geologic formation.
Yeah, that's quite bad,
And this is
isn't
a
it?
really
Only
nice
10 to
state park.
20,000
Lots of
years ago.
hiking in the summer, lots of cross-country skiing and snowmobiling in the winter. There's paddling, there's hot air balloon rides, there's
Tell you
whitewater.
what, imagine going down that trail. You like, I feel like you've seen like 4 or 5 already different shots of the same river, which all look stunning in different ways. And you could just paddleboard, kayak, like he's just saying, down there, and how beautiful
Yeah,
that
I'd
is.
want to go in the fall. That looks
Yeah,
pretty
all-
with those trees.
Autumny kind of.
Yeah.
It did. That definitely made it as well, didn't it? The time of year. Is it cold? What state was this in again?
This is in New York, so yeah.
Oh, it'll be a bit chilly though. You don't want to be paddling down in the autumn, do you?
Yeah, but September, October, is that chilly?
Let us know. Is there some warmish days to be going down this river on a paddleboard or something like that?
Don't.
Maybe, I don't know.
And near the park is the Mount Morris Dam, which is the largest dam in the eastern U.S. So most people know about the Adirondacks and some of the beautiful mountains in upstate New York, but there are also many beautiful spots in western New York, including Letchworth State Park.
I bet it's nice traveling
Heading
across
out
the bridge.
west, I'm going to Oregon and Newberry Crater. This is part of the Newberry National Volcanic Monument located right in the middle of the state, not too far from Bend. And even though it's called a crater, it's actually a caldera, which is a collapsed empty magma chamber that's been exposed after seismic activity.
Okay.
The most recent volcanic activity there was approximately 1,300 years ago, and it created a large obsidian flow about a mile wide.
Wow.
The tallest peak in the area is Paulina Peak at just under 8,000 feet, and there are also 2 fairly large alpine lakes there.
I've
And the
just been
lakes are
stood
filled
there.
in portions of the caldera. And this
Okay.
area around Newberry is still very seismically and geothermically active. It's a high alert volcano with a high risk for eruption. As a park, it's great to visit with lots of hikes going around the caldera and the surrounding area. There's paddling in the lakes, and there's cross-country skiing and snowmobiling in the winter. I can imagine with so much population growth going on around Bend that this park is more popular than it used to be, but it is a great place to visit.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Staying on the west coast, I'm going down to California and Mono Lake.
Getting warmer.
This is located in the eastern part of the state, east of the Sierra Nevada, not too far from the state line with Nevada. The lake is at a relatively high elevation at 6,383 feet. And this is a saline lake. It's very salty. There's no outflow. So any
Okay.
water that enters the lake doesn't go out by a creek out to the ocean. It just stays there and gets evaporated, and you get some evaporate left behind.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
And this is another spot that has lots of active volcanoes
Wait,
and recent
So
volcanic activity.
is rain just? Is it just rain getting in then? But then it's salt water. Is it like? Do you know what I mean? How's the water getting there? This may sound so stupid to me, and maybe we missed it. I don't think we did, but it's salt water in there, so you're thinking seawater. It's somehow getting there, but it doesn't flow out.
Yes, how's it going?
So is it maybe there was a river nearby, overflows into there, but then
Maybe.
it doesn't ever go too high to get out? Again, please let us know in the comments below, because that confused me a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because if it were rainwater, you think it wouldn't be salty, I guess?
Well, also, eventually it's going to want to go out, because eventually, after all these years, surely it would have filled up.
Oh, no, it condensates. It was a bit condensation, so that's it evaporating and stuff like that. Yes, I got that bit. Yeah, we'll cut that. We don't cut anything. It's alright.
There are 2 islands in the lake, one called Peoha and one called Negat, and neither one of these are very old. Peoha is, in fact, only 350 years old. The other island, Negat Island, is only 1,700 years old, so these are both very young geologically.
Okay.
And both of these islands
Ooh,
are
it's
lake-fed
big.
sediments and volcanic tuff that have been exposed by lowering water levels. And at times, the water level can be so low that both of these islands are actually connected by a land bridge. The park is famous for its tufa towers, and these are limestone formations formed along subsurface springs. So what happens is sediment is released underwater, and these towers are formed, and they end up being exposed by the lowering lake levels.
You see, that's
Similar
mad,
to
innit? That
Great
just gets
Salt Lake
formed.
in Utah, a lake like this could be dried out if taking out too much water. In the region
great.
was a lake called Owens Lake that was dried up in the 1920s after Los Angeles diverted much of the water for its water supply.
Okay.
So Mono
Oh,
Lake is
also
a
water
beautiful
supply,
spot
yes.
surrounded by many popular tourist attractions like Yosemite, Lake Tahoe, and Mammoth Lakes, but not many folks make it to Mono Lake. It's a beautiful spot.
Okay.
Now, heading over to New Mexico, I'm going to the Santa Rosa Blue Hole. And it is how it sounds. It's a big hole that's filled with water to make it a blue hole.
Oh, a little
And
diving
so,
board
by
as well.
definition,
Swimming.
that makes this a cenote, which is a vertical cave pit that's been filled with water. And the Santa Rosa Blue Hole is an artesian well, and what this is a natural pump essentially, so high pressure below the surface pushes aquifer water up to the surface. And as a
Okay.
result, the surface water is always the same temperature. It's always about 62 degrees Fahrenheit.
Okay, I think that's
The
the right
main blue
temperature
hole
for water.
itself is about 80 feet deep and also about 80 feet in diameter.
Oh my.
Oh,
However,
that's
at the bottom
deep.
of the main pit are small passages that go off to the side, and these are just small, tight cave diving sections. The deepest part of these
Oh.
smaller caves go down about 194 feet below the surface.
Yeah.
However, these tighter sections...
That is something I won't do. Is going in like the tight caves or people. Have you seen the videos?
Yeah,
and
yeah,
go,
yeah,
oh,
come
maybe
on.
we should watch a reaction on that.
I'm
I
so
kinda want it.
claustrophobic.
And then also like the deep sea diving or this lake diving, because yes, it may not be like a deep sea, but that's still deep going
Yeah,
through caves. I'll swim down as far as I can, and then until I need to come up, that's fine. But I ain't going anywhere near that cave system at the bottom.
that go off the larger hole down deeper into the cave are off limits. There's a gate on them. This is a popular spot for surface swimming in the summer, but also scuba training all year long.
Makes
Because
sense.
the blue hole is located at an elevation of 4,600 feet, you need high altitude scuba gear to do this, and this is a popular spot to do the training for it. The entire cave system has been fully explored and mapped by experienced cave divers, but even then there have been multiple deaths through the years, including an experienced Navy diving rescue and recovery member. Cave diving is a very dangerous recreational activity, so even a relatively small cave like the Santa Rosa Blue Hole can be dangerous.
Yeah, it's
And
dangerous.
this is located right off of Interstate 40, so if you're on a road trip and it's really hot, you want a quick break, you can take a nice little dip in the Santa Rosa Blue Hole.
Huh.
No, you
Now,
can,
heading
would
to
you
the
not go in
southeast-
it? Would you not even just go in it?
I can't swim, so
You can a little
drown.
bit. You can a little bit.
I'm not strong enough. I don't
No,
think.
you ain't risking it because it's too deep. Someone shot sinking, she'll.
Yeah, I know.
You go. Oh, you just float to the top.
Yeah,
Obviously, don't do that underwater, but you'll do that before you go under. If you do it
Under.
underwater, you get filled up with water.
Thanks.
Just a little tip.
I'm not going in.
East, I'm going to go to a place I'm very familiar with, and that's Cloudland Canyon State Park in northwestern Georgia. This is located near the Tri-State Point where Georgia meets Tennessee and Alabama. It's about a half an hour southwest of downtown Chattanooga.
Okay.
And this is a large
Ooh.
canyon created by the Sitting Gulch Creek and its tributaries. It's
So
over
green.
1,000 feet
Yeah.
deep in its deepest section. It's located on the top of Lookout Mountain, which despite its name was actually a limestone ridge. The canyon itself is made up of sandstone and shale. There's much sedimentary rock in the region, including many limestone caves. And this part of the country with much limestone and much water means you get a lot of karst topography, which is where you get many caves being formed.
Okay.
But you also have many beautiful waterfalls
Ooh.
in this park as well. The largest ones are 90 feet and 60 feet. And this is a great park to visit. There are lots of different hiking trails. Some go around the rim of the canyon, some go through the bottom of it. There are mountain biking and extended backcountry trails, and there are also those cave tours. So I always tell people to visit the Chattanooga area
Cool.
if they want to see some beautiful scenery to check out this park. It's often not mentioned in the Chattanooga literature because they want people to stay in Tennessee, but this is a beautiful state park. Check
yeah,
it out.
definitely.
That is
I say
nice.
go and
And the
visit
last
it.
place I
Maybe
want to
we will one
mention
day.
in the video is the most well-known one. It's a national park, Kenai Fjords National Park in
Dude, I feel like
Alaska.
Alaska, it's so annoying because there's so many stunning places in Alaska.
Yeah.
It's just so hard to get to and
Yeah.
access so many things. But maybe one day.
Maybe one day.
Hopefully, I do want to visit Alaska in some form, whether it's a cruise and you're just going to some parts of it. I want to visit Alaska. Maybe in the summer when it's not as cold.
This is located in the south central part of the state along the boundary between the North American and Pacific tectonic plates. And what a fjord is a glacially carved out valley that's been inundated with water. So for the Kenai Fjords, the Pacific plate is being subducted underneath the North American plate, which pushes the continental crust of the North American plate upward. But
Okay.
because this area is so seismically active, a major earthquake can cause a collapse of this uplifted continental shelf. And in fact, in 1964,
Ooh, that's
there was a
nice.
large 9-point earthquake that hit this part of the state, and it caused the coastal areas in this region to drop several feet.
Oh,
So over the
wow.
course of thousands and thousands of years, many earthquakes have caused this land that was carved out by glaciers to subside. Water levels rose, filled it up, and that's a fjord.
Oh, okay.
The national park also protects 30 glaciers on an ice
a lot.
field and also some
It's
wooded
mad, isn't it,
buildings.
just how like ice just ends there, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? There's so much up to it and it just ends. It's like...
Where's it gone?
Yeah, where's it gone? What? Did the snow just stop?
That's nearby. The best way to see this park is by boat. There are multiple cruises offered by the National Park Service and private companies, as well as kayak tours. In fact, my advisor in college, his job before being a professor was to be a naturalist on some of these cruises, talking about some of the geography and geology of the Kenai Fjords.
Yeah, we've got to do one of them cruises.
So I've never been to Alaska, would love to go, and this is one place I would certainly love to see. It's a beautiful spot. So that was part 2 of interesting natural features.
We did that.
That was good. Part 2.
Yeah. We done part 1.
I haven't done part 1 ages ago.
Yeah, we said that at the start.
Did you say that?
I think we did. I said even more because...
I don't think you did say that.
Maybe I didn't. I'm 99% sure we have done this. Not this one.
Okay, well, forget
but
me.
ones like this. But
It was interesting, I liked it.
If we haven't, we'll do number 1.
Some new ones, so we have, like, well, all of them were new, actually.
All of them were new.
Yeah, go ahead.
That is why I like Geography King, because it doesn't just go for the obvious ones. Obviously,
Yeah.
sometimes on the topic you have to.
Obviously, yeah.
But we learn something new. He shows you gives you a bit of information, a bit of history on the place, shows you images, and you get a bit of everything.
Yeah.
Enjoy that.
Yeah, it was good.
Smash that like button, guys. Smash that subscribe button. What should we do?
Have a fantastic day.
See you legends in the next one. Peace.